Alabama, let's get it.
The process, no one can stop this. Hottest show in the streets, I bet you can't top this. Recruiting news and interviews, just sit back and watch this.
Recruiting news and interviews, just sit back and watch this.
The process.
How's it going, everyone? Welcome back into The Process, Crimson Tide Recruiting. I am your host, Justin Smith, the Director of Recruiting for Touchdown Alabama. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. The first thing I want and need you to do, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button as well. Subscribers, hit that notification bell. Be notified when we drop content on our YouTube channel. I'm here each week to break down the latest of Crimson Tide football, recruiting news, and we are back rolling on Touchdown Alabama. Thank you guys so much. So, like I said, hit the like, subscribe, everything. Got another jam-packed show. Gonna recap the Crimson Tide's official visit weekend, talk about some of the guys we've talked with as they took an official visit to Alabama over the weekend, talk about a 2025 dual threat quarterback who's one of the top quarterbacks in the 2025 recruiting class, a very talented guy who the Crimson Tide recently offered. Got him on campus Saturday, got an opportunity to spend some time with Nick Saban and the Crimson Tide's offensive coordinator, Tommy Reese. We'll get his thoughts about the Crimson Tide, and I will discuss what I like about this kid because I think he is a special signal caller at around 6'4", left-handed quarterback out of Mississippi. The Crimson Tide also offered a 2024 defensive back. When you offer a guy this late in a recruiting cycle, it's not really late, but when we offer him during camp season, that offer is a little bit, I say it's a little bit more legit in a way. And they offered him, and he's already got an official visit date in mind. We'll talk about Justin Denson a little bit on today's show as well. But before we dive into our first topic, we do have a word from our sponsors. With Father's Day quickly approaching, it's right around the corner. We are partnered with Alumni Hall for all of your Father's Day gift needs. Head over, get your hats, t-shirts, grills, anything Alabama Crimson Tide related. Be sure to check out Alumni Hall, and you can use the promo code TDADAD23. That's TDADAD23 to get your 20% off. Head over to Alumni Hall. The link is in the description. Give your father a great gift for Father's Day. First, we're going to talk about Aaron Hampton, a 2024 four-star athlete out of Texas who officially visited the Crimson Tide over the weekend. This is a kid who's down to Alabama and Texas. Like I said, he's from Texas. He's choosing between the home state school and the Alabama Crimson Tide. This is a guy who has been a priority for Alabama for, I would say, several months now. He's visited the Crimson Tide a lot. He's talked about the Crimson Tide in terms of how much he loves that program, building his relationship with Alabama's coaching staff, including the Crimson Tide's wide receiver coach Holman Wiggins, who does a great job recruiting the state of Texas and recruiting receivers, which is where Aaron Hampton will play at the next level. When we look at Hampton, he's an athlete that will most likely be a slot wide receiver at the next level, explosive guy who can attack the football at his highest point, make nice moves in space with the football in his hands, a guy who's just going to be a nice slot wide receiver at the next level, has potential to be really good, and the Crimson Tide are really, really high on him. So he took an official visit to Alabama over the weekend, and he told me the official visit went great. It was just a great overall visit. Good opportunity for him and his family to get to Tuscaloosa to enjoy that visit. Like I said, he is down in Alabama and Texas, and many expect a decision to come from Hampton pretty soon. I think the Crimson Tide definitely in a great position along with Texas. I think the Tide are trending upwards for Hampton, if I had to say, just based on this relationship, how much love he has shown them. Of course, Texas is a team that has been involved in this recruitment for quite some time now. So Hampton is a guy we'll pay close attention to because we know the Crimson Tide are eventually going to go on a run in June or July on the recruiting trail. And Hampton is a guy I just will keep my eyes on moving forward in terms of Alabama football recruiting and possible commits in the future. Another top prospect who's on the campus of the University of Alabama over the weekend is Isaiah Faga out of Central Phoenix City High School in Phoenix City, Alabama. The Crimson Tide offered him a couple of months ago during an unofficial visit. He got back to take an official visit to the Crimson Tide. I think most recruiting sites have him listed as a 3-star recruit at the moment. That is subject to change because he's a guy with a lot of potential. It wouldn't surprise me if he ended up being a 4-star recruit. He is currently committed to Utah, but he is keeping his options open. Had opportunity to catch up with him after he took an official visit to the University of Alabama. He talked a lot about the hospitality that him and his family enjoyed. He said Alabama is absolutely up there in terms of where they are in his recruitment, but he said he is being patient with the process and just taking his time with everything. Like I said, he is verbally committed to Utah. He's still keeping his options open, but he's also still taking his time. camp at Alabama after this official visit is in a good position with him. He said his official was awesome. Him and his family were treated with nothing but love and hospitality. Said he really enjoyed it. So his official visit looked as if it went really well as well, like Aaron Hampton. When you look at Fargo, he's a guy who is really productive at 6'2", 275 pounds. He's an explosive, very strong interior defensive lineman for the Red Devils, and the Crimson Tide really seem to like him. I think they would love to add him to their 2024 recruiting class, along with another in-state defensive lineman in Jeremiah Beeman. So I would say if Fargo was to flip his commitment from Utah, I think Alabama would be the favorite if he decided to do that. So Alabama's a team to watch for with Fargo moving forward in this 2024 recruiting cycle, as he continues to be patient with them still being verbally committed to Utah. Another top wide receiver who's on the campus of the University of Alabama over the weekend is Amari Jefferson, a 4-star wide receiver out of Tennessee, who's currently verbally committed to play baseball for the University of Tennessee. But he's still, like Foggy, still keeping his options open. A lot of these guys now, especially these top recruits, they're keeping their options open, almost as if they have a backup plan. And this not only goes for guys who Alabama is going after, this also goes for guys who are committed to Alabama. You see Sterling Dixon, you see Jalen Mbakwe, you see Perry Thompson, you see all these guys taking official visits and visits in general to other schools, just keeping their options open and enjoying their recruitment process in general. So guys are going to do that. And I think Jefferson is a guy who was a priority for Alabama in terms of his official visit, because he actually had an opportunity to sit beside Nick Saban at dinner, and he spoke highly of that opportunity. You could tell that he was excited to be sitting beside Nick Saban for dinner. Like, this was his assigned seat, to get some information and get to know Coach Saban over dinner. And in terms of that being so big for his official, he actually posted to Twitter saying, "Man, I'm having an amazing time on my OV at Bama. Being seated next to the GOAT at our rival dinner was crazy." Just looking, and at that time, he was looking forward to more in the official visit. So the Crimson Tide seem to have hit that another official visit out of the park with Jefferson. I think he's a guy Alabama's in the running for, definitely. When you take a look at his game, this is a 6'2", 195-pound wide receiver. And when you watch his film, you watch his huddle, you can see that he has a solid frame. This is a guy who's put together really well. Like I said, at 6'2", 195 pounds. He finished last season with 72 receptions, 1,370 yards, 17 receiving touchdowns. And he's a guy who's just exciting to watch in terms of what he can do with the football in his hands. Has great speed. He's elusive, seems to be able to change direction pretty easily in terms of his fluidity and just mobility and his athleticism and how loose his hips are. He looks really good as a wide receiver in his 2024 recruiting class. A guy I think the Tide are sitting in a solid position with after this official visit. But there are some other great programs loaded into his final 6 at the moment, so the Crimson Tide have to continue to battle it out with Jefferson. Like I said, battle it out with some top teams for Jefferson. But like I said at the beginning of the show, I do want to talk about Justin Denson, a 3-star defensive back out of Providence, Rhode Island. A guy who was on an official visit, or getting ready to take an official visit to Florida, when he got a call from Nick Saban and Alabama's defensive back coach Travaris Robinson. And he was on the phone with both of them. He said he just found out that he got an offer from the Crimson Tide, and he was just smiling from ear to ear. He said Alabama likes his length, ball skills, speed, physicality, and compared him to Patrick Surtain. He said he's already in the mix of trying to lock in an official visit with Alabama. So Justin Denson is a new 2024 defensive back target for the Crimson Tide to watch. Of course, we can look at Alabama's 2024 recruiting class. They have a commitment from Jalen Mbakwe, who's listed as a 5-star athlete, but he's projected to be a cornerback for the Crimson Tide at the next level. So Denson is a guy who the Crimson Tide are going to continue to watch. I think this is a guy that they are really high on by offering him this late, trying to get him on campus for the official visit, and he said he's already in the process of locking it in. When you take a look at Denson's film, he's a guy who just seemed to have a feel for the game. He's that long defensive back, versatile guy, can play corner, can play safety, but he's that long physical corner that Nick Saban just seems to love at this point in his coaching career. The thing that really stands out to me when watching his film is the feel that he seems to have for where the ball is going in terms of timing it, in terms of playing over the top. He really seems to have a great feel for that safety position. Alabama, of course, compared him to Patrick Surtain, Nick Saban, and Travaris Robinson did that, and I think that was more so because of that size, that length, and the way that he's built, and the way that he has a feel for the game, knowing when to be, knowing where to be to catch those interceptions, to make plays on the ball, has great ball skills as well. But Denson is a guy to watch for the Crimson Tide in the 2024 recruiting class, along with so many other guys, because this 2024 recruiting cycle is in full go now. A lot is happening. Like I said, I think the Crimson Tide is going to go on a roll eventually this month, next month. They always do around this time. I don't think this year will be any different. The last guy I want to talk about on tonight's show is Deuce Night, a 2025 four-star quarterback out of Mississippi, one of the top dual-threat quarterbacks in next year's recruiting class. When you take a look at him, he's a left-handed guy, 6'4", can make plays off strip in terms of like making plays, getting away from defenders who are closing in on him, keeping his eyes downfield, and delivering great passes with great accuracy down the field. But he's a true dual threat. I mean, when you watch his huddle film, you see the first time he take off, you're like, hold up. This quarterback has a different gear. He's not only a guy who can make plays with his feet, he's dangerous. He's a guy that you're going to have to game plan for when he gets to the next level. And he's a guy that you have to game plan for on Friday nights as well. And he's a guy who I had an opportunity to catch up with after he earned the offer from the Crimson Tide last week. Got on campus for an unofficial visit over the weekend. Like I said, he had an opportunity to catch up with Nick Saban, catch up with Alabama's offensive coordinator, Tommy Rees. Said he had a good time at his visit. In terms of Alabama, he said it's one of the best programs to play for, if not the best. You got probably the greatest football coach at the program, at the head of the program, and they put guys in the first round every year. So the Tide are in a legitimately good position with Deuce Night at the moment. Of course, they're still evaluating him, going to still evaluate so many other quarterbacks in that 2025 recruiting class as things move forward. But Deuce Night is a guy who I think a guy I really like. It's just the way they can make plays off script. A guy who has a nice arm, but he's not only, like I said, not only a dual threat, true dual threat, a guy that scares you when he escapes the pocket and he's making plays. But that is what I want to talk about on today's show. Thank you guys so much for joining me today on the process. Be sure to hit the like button, subscribe and to the notification bell before you leave. Then head over to touchdownalabama.com. Pick up your subscription today. With that subscription, you will be able to read all of our subscriber-only articles, get access to our message board, print magazine issues, all of that by subscribing to touchdownalabama.com. Then head to the Google Play Store if you have an Android device to download the Touchdown Alabama app. If you have an Apple device, download the app in the Apple App Store. As always, I am Justin Smith, the director of recruiting for Touchdown Alabama.
Process.